Same model, same settings, same GPU. The only difference between those two images is the words. That is the power of prompt engineering, and by the end of this episode, you will never write a weak prompt again. Welcome back to TGH Learnings and the ComfyUI Mastery Series. I'm really excited for this one because prompt engineering is honestly one of those skills that feels like a superpower once it clicks. Episode 1 got ComfyUI running, Episode 2 taught you how the node graph works. Now in Episode 3, we are going to focus on the thing that has the single biggest impact on your image quality, the words you give the AI. A lot of people treat prompting like typing a Google search. They write 3 words, get a mediocre result, and assume the AI isn't good enough. But that's not what's happening. The AI is incredibly capable. It just needs more specific instructions. Think of it this way. If you hired a world-class photographer and just said take a photo of a city, you'd get a competent but forgettable shot. But if you said, I want a rainy night scene, Tokyo aesthetic, neon reflections, shallow depth of field, shot on a 35mm lens, now that photographer knows exactly what you're going for. Prompting an AI is the same conversation. Your job is to be the art director. In this episode, we're going to cover the full prompt engineering toolkit. How to structure a positive prompt for maximum impact, how to use negative prompts strategically, and how the K-sampler settings, CFG scale steps, sampler, and scheduler interact with your prompts to shape the final result. There's a lot of live experimentation in this one, so let's jump straight in. A great positive prompt has layers. Like a well-composed photograph, each layer adds a different dimension of information. When you understand the layers, you can build any prompt intentionally instead of just throwing words at the AI and hoping for the best. Let me walk you through the 6 layers I use every time. You don't have to use all 6 layers every time, but the more layers you include, the more control you have over the result. A 1-layer prompt like a cat gives the AI full creative freedom, which sounds good in theory but in practice means unpredictable, often boring results. A 6-layer prompt like a black cat sitting on a rain-soaked windowsill, staring into a stormy city street, dramatic backlit neon glow, cinematic shallow depth of field, photorealistic, highly detailed tells the AI exactly what scene to build, and you get something remarkable every time. One important rule: order matters. ComfyUI's clip encoder gives higher weight to concepts that appear earlier in the prompt. This means your most important elements should always come first. Subject first, setting second, style and quality keywords last. If you put photorealistic 8K at the start, the AI treats rendering quality as more important than your subject, and you get technically sharp images of nothing in particular. Alright, let's prove this live. I'm going to generate the same scene 5 times, adding 1 layer to the prompt each time. The seed, the settings, the model, everything stays identical. Only the prompt grows. Watch what happens. I'm using the Juggernaut model for the generation. You can download the model from the CVT AI. I will share the link in the description. Once you download the model, paste it inside the checkpoint folder, same as we have done for realistic vision on episode 1. I'm starting with the generation 1 with subject only. This will be our layer 1, a warrior. It gives a generic humanoid figure, probably standing stiffly. Undefined background, no personality. This is what most beginners write. It technically works but produces nothing memorable. Generation 2, add action and environment, which will be our layer 2 plus 3, a warrior standing at the edge of cliff overlooking a ruined ancient city. This gives a better composition. The AI now understands scale and context. Notice how the background and the subject's relationship to the world improves significantly. Generation 3, adding lighting, which will be our layer 4. A warrior standing at the edge of a cliff overlooking a ruined ancient city. Dramatic sunset backlighting, long shadows, significant leap in visual impact. Lighting changes everything. This single addition usually produces the biggest single improvement. Lighting is king. Generation 4, adding style, which will be the layer 5. A warrior standing at the edge of a cliff overlooking a ruined ancient city, dramatic sunset backlighting, long shadows, dark fantasy, cinematic, painterly. Now visual style becomes intentional. Mood is now defined. Style keywords steer the aesthetic without changing the subject or composition. Generation 5, adding quality boosters, the last layer, layer 6. Warrior standing at the edge of a cliff, overlooking a ruined ancient city, dramatic sunset backlighting, long shadows, dark fantasy, cinematic painterly, highly detailed, 8K, sharp focus, professional color grading, masterpiece. A best version, maximum detail, intentional style, strong composition. This is the power of all 6 layers working together. Same model, same seed, same settings. The only thing that changed was the information we gave the AI. This is why learning to prompt well is worth spending time on. You're not fighting against the AI, you're having a better conversation with it. Alright, let's talk about negative prompts because I think this is the most underused tool that beginners overlook. Most people write a positive prompt, hit generate, get something with weird hands or a blurry face and don't know why. The answer is almost always in the negative prompt, or more accurately, the empty negative prompt. Your negative prompt is your list of things to push the AI away from. It doesn't delete those things, it reduces their probability. The more specific your negative prompt, the cleaner your output. Let me show you the 3 categories of negative keywords I use in almost every generation. Here's my go-to universal negative prompt that I paste as a starting point for almost every single generation, and then I add to it based on the specific image. Save this as your default negative prompt. It will improve virtually every generation without restricting your creative freedom. Now, let me show you a live example of what this actually does. I'm going to generate a portrait twice, once with an empty negative prompt, once with a full negative prompt above. Same positive prompt, same seed. A beautiful woman, golden hour, cinematic, with a no negative prompt. I'm adding one more copy of the nodes by Ctrl plus right click mouse drag all the nodes and press Ctrl plus C, then press Ctrl plus V to paste and add the full negative prompt here. Now hit run. You can see the difference with the negative prompt on it. One important thing, negative prompts behave slightly differently across models. As you experiment with different checkpoints throughout the series, always test your negative prompt with each model and adjust accordingly. So now let's talk about one of the most misunderstood settings in ComfyUI, which is CFG Scale. Don't worry about the complicated name. Think of CFG as a slider that controls how closely the AI follows your prompt. Lower values give the AI more creative freedom, higher values force it to obey your prompt more strictly, but more isn't always better. Let's see it. At CFG1, the AI becomes very creative, but it may ignore parts of your prompt. At CFG3, everything looks balanced. The composition is accurate while still looking natural. Now, look at CFG7. It follows the prompt very literally, but colors become harsher, details feel overprocessed, and the image starts looking artificial. For most stable diffusion models, I recommend CFG 1 to 5 for more realistic version and between 7 to 12 for anime or highly detailed fantasy scenes. If you are using Flux models, keep it around 3 to 4 because Flux reacts differently. Next comes steps. Every step is another refinement pass that improves the image. But after a certain point, you're just wasting time. Let's compare. At 10 steps, the image is usable but still lacks refinement. At 20 steps, the quality improves dramatically. Now, compare 20 with 40. Can you really see twice the quality? Probably not. But the render time almost doubles. That's why most creators, including me, use 20 to 25 steps for stable diffusion. It's the sweet spot between speed and quality. Fluxional is different. It only needs around 4 to 8 steps. Now, we reach the settings that confuse almost everyone. Samplers and schedulers. There are dozens of options here. Do you really need to learn all of them? No, here's a simple explanation. The sampler decides how the AI generates the image. The scheduler decides how the noise is reduced during that process. Different combinations give slightly different results. But here's something beginners don't realize: the difference between samplers is much smaller than the difference between a good prompt and a bad prompt. So instead of trying every option, just start with combinations that are already proven. Alright, let's bring everything together. You now have every ingredient: a layered positive prompt, a solid negative prompt, and an understanding of how CFG steps, sampler and scheduler each contribute. Let me give you the complete formula I use for a polished generation. First, Build your positive prompt using 6 layers: subject, action, environment, lighting style, and finally quality boosters. Then add a proper negative prompt to remove unwanted artifacts. Finally, use reliable settings CFG around 3, steps around 20 to 25, sample DPM ++2. Notice how everything comes together. A structured prompt, a proper negative prompt, balanced settings. That's the difference between random AI images and professional results. So that's it for prompt engineering. If you've been wondering why your AI images don't look like the ones you see online, now you know it's not just the model, it's how you communicate with it. In episode 4, we are taking the next big step by exploring AI models. We'll compare Stable Diffusion 1.5, SDXL and Flux. Learn where to download them, how to install them, and which one is the right choice depending on the kind of images you want to create. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to TGH Learnings, and I'll see you in the next episode.